What's up, everybody? Ecom Warriors guys, how you guys doing? Today I'm going to be making a video. It's going to be a declaration for the next 4 weeks. Today is April 5th, and for the next 4 weeks, I promise to post a video every single day. Now, this is going to be extremely hard for me. I don't care if it's at midnight. I'm still going to be posting the video every single day, okay? So I'm going to make sure that sorry, I got a little distracted there. I'm going to be making sure that I'm always posting content for the next 4 weeks, okay, no matter what. I had a few days off. This is quarter 2. Typically in quarter 1 I go very, very hard. Quarter 4 I go very, very hard. This has honestly been the first time in a long time where I just did nothing for like a good part of the year. Not nothing, but a little bit of work. I don't want to say nothing, but you guys know, a little bit of work. I've been grinding for the past 6-7 years. I've become very, very successful, thank God. And listen, we're just going to take it from the top. And all I need is just a few months, which I guess you could say I kind of passed through that. I'm feeling recharged. I'm feeling good. So I guess you could say, as a ceremony to commitment, or a commitment ceremony, I'm committing this video to be able to create content for the next 4 weeks, okay? There's going to be videos on this channel. We're going to do Shopify. We're going to do e-commerce. Doesn't necessarily have to be Shopify. We're going to break down different stores. If you guys want to submit your stores, make sure you do that. The only thing I will say is I think YouTube automatically deletes the comments that have a domain in them. So make sure you kind of skillfully write your domain and things like that. If you want me to review your stores, we're going to be essentially doing 28 different videos. So you guys tell me what you want, okay? And if you guys have, a bunch of stores, put them out there. I'll give you free advice. I'm definitely going to be creating some more exclusive stuff. I'm going to be creating some courses that are 100% affordable. I'm not going to be charging $500 for a course or something ridiculous like that. That's not me. That's not what I want to do. I just want to I feel like there's a community out there with this channel, right? We have like 600 something subscribers, which I know is not a big deal to other people, but to me it is. And we're just going to go hard on this. We're going to go ham. So for everybody watching out there, I'm here with you guys. I'm supporting. Let's go ahead and do this. We're going to do 4 weeks of straight videos. I'm not taking off on Sunday. I'm not taking off on Saturday. I'm not going to be taking off on, even if it's midnight and I still haven't recorded a video yet, I'll still record a video. Always to help you guys and give you guys some support on whatever you're doing. Now, it will make my life easier if you guys give me questions. If you don't give me questions, I'm going to have to assume what you guys want, and I'm going to try to bring out content based on that. So without further ado, I just want to say thank you guys for watching the channel. Get ready for more content, okay? Now, that's the announcement. Now, for today's video, I want to talk specifically about the cognitive biases and Lollapalooza effect within sales. Now, I've talked about this before, but I want to be very, very clear. There's a reason why some stores win over others. At the end of the day, to make it very, very simply, you have to ask yourself, is my e-commerce store giving people a positive or a negative influence? At the end of the day, when I come across things all day long, I'm being influenced whether I know it or not, right? Same thing for you, same thing for everybody else, okay? When I go on the internet, I can tell right away, or just in real life, if something is pleasing to me or it's not. For example, if I take a look at a website that has an extremely large logo, right? Immediately, certain red flags are going to pop up in my head. I'm going to think, amateur. I'm going to think, maybe this store doesn't make any money. Not good at, building website design. All those things are what? Negative influences. And the same, and just as the same example, take a look into your stores and your lives, right, in different businesses, right? When you walk into, let's say, a clothing store in the mall, and it's a dirty mess, and there's, wrappers all over the floor, and it's dusty, and the employees are pissed off and angry, what kind of vibe does that give you? That gives you a negative vibe, and whether you like it or not, that's going to decrease the amount of consumption you're doing from that store. So think about your specific businesses, guys. How does your specific businesses compare to others? And when you do compare your businesses, make sure you compare it to a business that's actually in this era. A mistake that I made when I was first starting about 6 years ago, Okay, I would look at businesses, and I had no idea how to become successful. I had no idea how to make money. I had no idea what's actually going to make me get traffic and then convert the traffic. I would look at businesses like Coca-Cola, and that was a severe mistake. See, Coca-Cola was built way back in the day when there was no internet, when there was no Shopify, when there was no drop shipping, right? And I researched the creators, and I researched the investors. What did they look for in a company like this to invest? Things like that. And I realized, at the end of the day, that those are not the companies that I should be looking at. I should be looking at modern day examples. Even though those companies are behemoths and they're amazing and they're successful, they weren't built off the back of today, right? So if you guys are beginners, if you guys are newbies, right, and there's nothing wrong with that. You should be proud of that. And I always tell you guys, if this is the start, you should be very, very happy for the amount of free time that you have now, because once you actually start making a significant amount of money, you're not going to have any free time. You're not going to there's going to be a very long, big chunk of time where you're going to be working day and night. And I've personally experienced that myself, hence why I took time off. But with that being said, you have to be aware of what businesses are being built in today's age. I'll give you a good example. There's a company called Bang Energy. Now, I've never drank a Bang Energy in my life, and I've never really supported the company. Not saying they're a bad company. I'm not saying they're a good company. All I'm saying is look at the way that they built their business. They went to the top very, very quickly. And they built it mostly just off of influencer marketing and investment, right? So maybe you might not be able to do that, but look at other examples, right? Maybe that might not be favorable to you, okay? Look at other examples. So all I'm saying is look at a business that's built in today's world, okay, and see what you can extrapolate from it. What information can you use from yourself? And don't copy. When you copy people, you're screwing yourself over, okay? You need to not copy, not replicate, but imitate in a way where you're doing it in your own kind of way. So, for example, influencer marketing, let's say Bang Energy. If I wanted to copy them, then I would go for all the biggest influencers, which is a mistake, all right? I always tell you guys, in 2021, you don't want the biggest influencer. You don't want the guy who has 5 to 10 million followers. You want the guy or the girl who's got 5,000, 6,000 followers, 16,000, maybe 60,000, right? And those people engage with their following the absolute most, and you're going to get the most out of that influencer, okay? Now, obviously, there's some different ways that people pick influencers, and this is not an influencer conversation, but the point here is you want to figure out what makes your business, what's going to take your business to that next level, whether it be Shopify or not, doesn't really matter. Here on YouTube, on this YouTube channel, we talk a lot about Shopify, but Shopify is irrelevant in this case. It's any business model, right? And you want to figure out what can you extrapolate from these other businesses. Now, talk about Lollapalooza Effect that I mentioned earlier, and I've talked about this a little bit more in my past videos, but I'm going to say this very clearly. The more of these positive influences that you bring onto a consumer, the higher your chance of getting the sale. Now, people might say, and this is something in the sales world, that, you might hear somebody like Jordan Belfort ask a question to the consumer. He'll be like, hey, do you want this Mio Energy, for example? And they might say no. And he says, great. And he just walks away, and he doesn't even try to sell you. So, for example, you might hear salesmen say, sell me this pen, right? And the first thing Jordan Belfort would say is, well, do you want a pen? And if somebody says no, he'll just walk away and find a different customer. And in the world of the internet, see, that's not completely true anymore. Just because there isn't a need doesn't mean there's not going to be a purchase, right? Back in the day when there was less internet, I guess you could say commerce, right? E-commerce. If there wasn't a need, there really wasn't going to be a purchase. But because of the cognitive biases, right, that have come about in the world through evolution, through many, many years, it has manifested itself into a situation where just if an individual may not necessarily need a product, they might still eventually buy the product. I'll give you an example. Bang Energy is a good example. Let's take the celebrity that you know who drinks Bang Energy. I don't know of any, but let's just say there is. Okay? They take a picture with that Bang Energy and they're drinking it. And you've never drank Bang Energy before, you might be interested to now try it. Now, you might not have ever had a need for it. You might have never needed an energy drink in your life, but you want to try it now because you've seen somebody else try it. That's an example of liking bias. You like the individual that you're watching, right? And it has some sort of bias on you. Now, there are whole different biases, and I'm going to come out with a course specifically on the cognitive biases for e-commerce, for business. But I'm giving you an example of a different sales tactic, which is really you want to understand the different biases out there. And I will come out with different videos and things like that. But the more influence, the more positive biases you have, okay, the more you get closer to what's referred to as the Lollapalooza effect. Okay? And there's no threshold, there's no maximum for the Lollapalooza effect. But what the Lollapalooza effect means is that when there's a lot of these cognitive biases, when they come together, they have a much larger chance of impact. We see this in psychological studies. I'll give you an example. There was I believe, I could be wrong, but there was this group of young children who were very, very intelligent, referred to as the Scorpions, a very, very high IQ. And they were put in a room to perform an exam. Okay, I could be wrong about the Scorpions part, but I know that there were children who were very intelligent, were put in a room to perform an exam. And the question was a very blatantly easy, obvious question. Now, there was a control group and there was an actual test group, or a group, right? Variable group. Now, the control group, see, they were controlled. They were told what to answer on this exam. And the exam was a peer-to-peer kind of out loud type of answer. So, for example, imagine if I'm the professor and there's 5 students in front of me, and these 5 students, I ask each a question, and they answer me out loud vocally, and I go to each student one by one, okay? So if I talk to student number 1, and I ask him, hey, what is the shape of this this device right here? And he says, it's a rectangle, right? That would be an example, right? So it's out loud. So what happened is there was a blatantly obvious question. I can't remember what it was, but it was a blatantly obvious question. And let's just use the rectangle as an example, right? He said, the professor or the teacher said, what is this shape? And the control group, the first few kids on purpose, said the wrong answer, and that was their job, right? Excuse me. But and they said the wrong answer every time. So for example, they showed and this is just an example, they showed an example of a rectangle, and they said, what is this shape? And the students the first 4, 5, 6, said circle, circle, circle. But finally, when it got to the variable, which is the tested object, right, the student who is being tested, right, to see will social impact make a difference or not, you could see that there was frustration on the student's face because the student didn't know what to say. It was a blatantly obvious answer, that it was not a rectangle. But since all the other students, that it was a rectangle, but since all the other students said it wasn't a rectangle, this student who knew the right answer decided to agree with the other students to say, yep, it's not a rectangle, it's a circle, right? Even though it was blatantly a rectangle and the student knew it was a rectangle. So this is another example of social cognitive bias referred to as social proof. When they see other students giving a certain answer, even if the answer is wrong, that other student is more likely to jump in, right? You see this, for example, within a fight, right? If a huge group of people are arguing with each other, one person fights another person, it almost becomes this chain effect of more and more people fighting each other, literally physically, because of the social proof bias. It's almost like social proof is something that, you're looking to the rest of the world for your validation, for your answer, okay? Now, these are things that are very important that come into the psychology of sales, and it could be the reason what is holding you back from sales. For some people, it's not. For some people, it is. And this is just an example of a video just discussing some of these ideas, all right? So I'll talk to you guys later. Hopefully this video came of value to you guys, and don't worry, we're going to be posting much, much more as I promised in the beginning of this video. I'll talk to you guys later. Peace.